everybody, and welcome to another boring old 64 Goat Tinkerer video. It's Saturday morning here, not one doggone yard sale around. There's a couple of signs up, but they're old. I usually tear them down, but I don't want to just throw them on the ground, so it aggravates me, wild goose chases, but I don't have the money anyways. I'm very, very short of money. I know, I'm just telling, you know. So I'm trying to design here a tinkerer. Here's my cassette recorder. This is like brand new. I got it for a yard sale for a couple bucks a few years back. I don't think it's ever been used. The battery compartments never had batteries in. I just put four alkaline energizers in here, and I've got in here, well, I happen to have a cassette playing in here now, and
she's holding on to nothing, but I guess that I am too weak.
Oh, can't see the damn buttons, which ones I hit to stop it here. We don't want no copyright Nazis on me here. I couldn't find a blank tape. You know, I have tapes. It just, everything's put away, you know, because I haven't used cassettes in years. What I'm doing is I've got a plug here with an open end here, and I had the 24-volt relay. It's not going to work. What this is, when the music is playing and this is plugged in, I'm getting about 2 volts AC on my Simpson 260. You have to use an analog meter, to get, to see the fluctuation on it. It's averaging about 2 volts. And so I took it. This is a mess of stuff that I'm just putting. This is a junk box stuff that I've gotten from the old shop, and things I junked, and also things I've got at yard sales that I pulled apart. This I got last year at Jewett City for $1, just for parts. I don't even know what the heck it is. And motors that come out of things. I've got a whole box of different kinds of motors and stuff in the other shed. What I have tried to do is to take a diode and run it to my 24-volt relay, but obviously 2 volts AC, it's not even going to come out without a filter capacitor. Even 2 volts DC is not going to kick over that relay. And what I wanted to do is to have Uncle Dorkle's voice pre-recorded, which means I'm going to have to script it. That's not a problem. It's just going to take me a lot longer to do a skit. I want his mouth to move with his voice, okay? Now, I'm doing it this way, but I was talking to Jim Asbell about it, and he had several different ways. He had some ideas that I can still do the voice through the microphone, and it won't be heard out of Dorkle. And when I do that, it would trigger, it would go to an audio amplifier, it would trigger a relay or a solid state relay, which in turn trigger Uncle Dorkle, and that could be done wirelessly as far as turning on and turning off the tape recorder, because the tape recorder should have a pause on it. I hope it does. Maybe it don't. Maybe I don't think this model does. It has an earphone, a power adapter on the left, and a microphone on the right. So this one don't have a pause, so that's going to be a problem for me. That's a volume control over there. So this is just for experimentation. Rather than me speak into a microphone, I just as soon take and play a tape to try and see if I can get the audio output, which is not all that much on this. As a matter of fact, these speakers here, these Eltic Lansings, can hardly be heard when I plug that into here. This is very loud and efficient little speaker. And so I'm going to need, I'm going to have to order on eBay, and it's going to have to wait until next month maybe, or maybe the month after. I'm going to have to order maybe a 20-watt audio amplifier on eBay that would feed in both a hopefully a monaural amplifier, because I don't need stereo, that could feed in a line level input and also a microphone input. I want that option to do that. And something with enough power to come out so that it'll drive the speakers in Uncle Dorkle, that's in his chest, as I showed you, and also to drive a relay or a solid-state relay, which will at that time key the mouth solenoid. So I'm looking through in my junk box here, and I just don't have any relays. You know, what few I did have, I dumped them all when I got rid of my shop at that auction. Now here is one here. I made up something years ago. Let me read that to you there. I have a feeling this is either a 12 or 24 volt relay. This is an industrial relay that when I had good eyesight, I soldered these wires on here. But let me stop the camera and see if I can give you the coil voltage here. Hang on. 12 volts, 150 ohms DC is what the coil is on this. So this is a 12 volt relay. I don't have anything lower than that. Years ago, I think you used to be able to buy them at Radio Shack. I even got one as a little plastic case on it, real tiny. I don't have that anymore. I believe it was 6 volts, but I'm going to need a relay coil, maybe as low as 3 volts, but maybe a 6 volt coil on a relay may work. But not on this, because this is not going to put out enough AC voltage, audio. In other words, you need something that's turned up loud. So you're going to need like at least a 20 amp amplifier, which, like I say, you can get on eBay. And but I'd have to search around. I might find something. And then I want something that's going to run, when I plug this into, on the amplifier that if I get one on eBay, a tape recorder like this, not necessarily this one, because this don't have the pause control. I need to pause by way of the wireless remote to pause the tape recorder. The amplifier can stay on as long as Uncle Dorkle's main switch is on. That's not a problem. I just need to turn the tape recorder on and off by way of the pause control. A lot of these tape recorders have the pause feature on them, but this particular one doesn't. A tape recorder, whether it be this one or another one or even a micro cassette recorder, that would work fine if they have a pause control jack on them. Okay, then I can turn that on and off by way of the wireless remote. So then the output of the 20 amp amplifier would have to run the speakers on Uncle Dorkle in his body, as well as running the relay. In other words, the relay would be rectified through a diode, and this is just a little dinky unmarked diode that's, general purpose diode. You need DC to operate the relay coil, and I don't even know if that will work. And that relay in turn, whether it be something like this, the output of the contacts of this relay would either run the mouth trigger direct, or if the contacts are not heavy in the relay I use, it would operate another relay or a solid state relay. And I'm going to show you a diagram that I checked with Jim. He has no problem with that. He put it in the mail. The Gordos, Gordos. I've never heard of him before. He had a bunch of these. He used to work with these things, and he made up a circuit for me, but I don't think it's going to be for a voice. He shows it as a push button. So let me show you that schematic, and it's going to be, well, maybe what I'll probably do is to post the schematic. I have it in my computer by way of photo, but I'll show it to you now on the video here. But if you can't see it too well, I will show the still shot. Okay, this is the screenshot I got of the email, the circuit of the Gordos, Gordos solid state relay. You can see that up there. This is circuit number 1, and he's not exactly sure how I have my Uncle Dorkel hooked up. I explained to him that the battery common negative, or the system battery, is common to everything in there. So up here on the Gordos relay, you can see a minus and a plus, a minus and a plus on the relay. Okay, this is supposed to be isolated. I had asked him if I take the negative, which is on the relay contacts over there, and tie it to the negative on the Gordos on the left-hand side, because what you need is the mouth solenoid must be connected to the system battery negative. Otherwise, it will not work. That's the way it's wired up. All right, so Jim drew out another one. Oh, hang on a minute. Okay, and it's showing the mouth solenoid. Now, in the middle of the schematic, you see the remote push button. Okay, so the way this circuit is, from what I understand him to say on the phone and also here, this is not designed to run through an audio amplifier and operated by voice, unless I can somehow put a relay in place of the push button and do that. This is supposed to be a solid state relay control with a manual push button. That's the way I understand it. What I want to do is to use audio, whether it be through a wireless mic, which is what I wanted to do, a lapel mic, and by way of the remote control key fob, which the button that would normally operate his mouth, which right now when you push it fast it just stays open, okay? I want to convert that particular channel to control the tape recorder or the amplifier. Turn the power on and off in the amplifier that's in Dorkel, and if it's done that way, it'll be done with a wireless mic, a lapel mic, and when I speak, the wireless lapel mic hopefully won't be seen in the skit, will operate his mouth, but will not be hooked to the speakers because you'll be getting feedback. So on camera, his mouth will be moving every time I talk, and that's what I want, okay? So all I would do is when Dorkel is speaking is I would just hold this button down, whatever button it is, I believe it's C, hold it down for as long as he's talking, which would be me talking, okay? If you understand what I'm trying to say. So In other words, instead of going bing, 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 bing like that on here, I'm just holding this down and I'm talking, and when I'm done talking, I'll release it. His mouth will close because the solenoid is activated in a downward motion only. It's a one-way deal. The mouth solenoid does not go both directions. It's wired. It's not reverse polarity, as I kept saying. So that's the way I want to do it, and either that way or I want to have a tape recorder and turn on the tape recorder when Dorkle is ready to speak. All I got to do is just sit there and push this, just hold it down, and that'll turn the tape recorder on with a pre-recorded message already on it. In other words, Uncle Dorkle speaking. All right, and that's all I got to do, and these things can be right out of sight. You're not going to see them. So if all this does not work, then we're going to try this Gordo circuit out. It's not, I didn't get any mail today. He just mailed it out. I believe it was yesterday anyways. So next week sometime it should be in the mail. We'll do it with the push button thing, and we might just put this in and just forget about anything else, because I'm not going to get the response with audio. You know, I just don't think you can do it. I don't think it can be done. Not with a relay, because as I keep having to repeat, because some people, you know, keep jumping in there and say, why don't you do this? Hi, John Svita. I know what you're going to say. Use the servo. No, John, I'm not using a servo. I know what you're going to say, and I know you're going to jump in there. Please. All right, so the way Uncle Dorkle is designed, it's a very hard mouth to open. Because of the way I built them. It's not like that skeleton that I showed you in Home Depot. It's a thin plastic jaw. It moves very rapidly. If I built it like that, yes, it wouldn't need a car door solenoid. I could probably, you know, use something much lighter, and wouldn't need a heavy-duty spring, because he's got ball cap rubber. You know, the kind of ball, I mentioned this before when I built them. If you follow those videos, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I use ball cap rubber on his side of his face, his mouth, and under his beard, all around his mouth. And there's a lot of resistance there, as well as a return spring, because his mouth would not stay completely closed. As it is now, his lips do not come right completely together, but that's okay. But there's an awful lot of resistance. It takes several pounds of pressure to pull that mouth open. Probably, I'm estimating maybe 1 or 2 pounds of pressure. That's a lot of work for that solenoid to do, but it's designed to do car door locks, so that's why I use that. All right. So, ideally, we're going to have to find another recorder, but this is just for experimentation, and I thought I had another recorder around, but that's not a problem. I need to get an audio amplifier. If I want to run speakers and run something that'll trigger a relay, because you need a lot of audio power. Amplifier puts out power, but in other words, current, but not a lot of voltage. But if you have a 20-watt amplifier and you crank it up to about 3/4 or maybe 80%, you're probably going to get, my guess would be 6 to 8 volts AC coming out of the audio output circuit. I can't say transformer because everything is solid state now. So that's another issue too. You're running speakers in parallel with the relay, which in turn has a diode and maybe a small electrolytic capacitor, but not too big because you'll hold the contacts closed. But you do want, actually you want pulsating DC going in, and you only want the audio peaks of the negative or positive peaks to operate the relay. You don't want it both directions. In other words, positive and negative, positive and negative, positive and negative. You want one direction. So it might not even work. There may not be any such thing out there. Maybe nobody can design it. I don't know. So, all right. That's it. I want to touch base on just one question that somebody mentioned, a comment somebody mentioned. I don't remember who it was, one of my viewers. I just watched, I read the comments real quick. I approved them, and I just been busy, I haven't had a chance. But later tonight, I'll plan on answering them, and I appreciate a lot of kind words that were said. One of the commenters, and I don't recall who it is right now, but says if the doctor doesn't even listen to your heart, I would get another doctor. Well, I talked to the doctor. Medicare will not pay for a physical, and even listening to your heart. They will not pay for it. So Medicare will pay for blood work, blood pressure, temperature, and all that stuff, and the stuff I showed you on the video. And I want to touch base on one other thing. Because of financial reasons, last year, or maybe a year before, we had to drop United Healthcare on my end because it was way too costly. So I'm only on Medicare myself. My wife is on United Healthcare until the end of the year. So I had to drop it. So in other words, at the time I had my cryosurgery and a colonoscopy, I think the colonoscopies are covered by Medicare anyways, but don't quote me, I'm not sure about that. So at that time, those things are covered, but there was still a copay, and there was still costs to us. So, in other words, if I had anything serious now, I'd be SOL, shit out of luck, in other words, to be blunt about it, if I had to go in the hospital, because Medicare pays very, very little. And with our, you see, the reason things cost so much is the medical plan that goes, like my wife is on United Healthcare right now, and it's through AARP, and it's through Pfizer, where I used to work. I've been retired since 2006. That expense also counts the prescription part of it. It's not just the doctor. So we're paying like close to, right now, about $1,000 a month. Just for her and my prescriptions, which is in that. Okay, I'm on what they call Silver Script. I'm all confused. My wife knows about this stuff. I get totally confused with it. So we have to look for some plans that are going to work, and for her insulin and stuff like that. And that's just the way it is. For the last few years, Medicare does no longer offers a once-a-year annual physical. They do a wellness check, which is basically a doctor talks to you, explains to you, everything's fine and this and that. So if you want a physical, I guess you're going to have to pay for it, and that's something we can't do. You know, this medical stuff is putting us in the poorhouse, literally. So, you know, and I honestly believe that, you know, I even told the doctor this. I says, I think the government is just trying to kill off the seniors. I really do believe it. And I mean, I've believed this for years. And, you know, you hear about other countries. I was reading a comment by one of my viewers in the UK. I can't remember who it was. Maybe John Svina, I don't know, that they get, I don't know, free health care in UK, but you have a long wait. Well, that's the way it is in Canada. You could be dead by the time you do get your care, you know. I know somebody used to be, I was subscribed to him, I still am, out in Canada. The poor guy died because I guess he had to wait so very long for, you know, whatever he had wrong with him to get treated, you know. So just because it's free, it don't do any good if it's free and you got to wait who knows how long. And by that time, if you have cancer or something, you're eaten up by it and dead. So, you know, just the way it is. So, anyways, enough of that. I wanted to clarify that, you know, believe me, I asked. So, Medicare no longer offers annual physicals. All they give you is the wellness check. So I guess if I wanted to pay an arm and a leg for supplemental insurance to go with the Medicare, then I'd probably get my physicals. Otherwise, no. When I was working, we used to get a physical every year. All right, that's enough of that. So that's my thoughts on this. It's a beautiful day out there today. Weather-wise, it's excellent. And if I had the Gordo's circuit in hand, I didn't expect it today, I would pull Dorkel out on the bench and start wiring them up. But as far as doing this, no, I'm going to have to, you know, do a lot of experimentation. The thing is, I just don't have the stuff to work with. I just don't have it. I need more than a 1-watt audio amplifier. I'm gonna have to, you know, I'm gonna go check on eBay tonight. I might be able to come up with an amplifier. I'm figuring 20 watts. But it's got to be mono because I don't want to have an open channel or put a resistor across the output or something. You know, because you don't want to feed a signal into a solid state or a tube set, for that matter, and use just one channel. And you, like I say, you can't parallel to solid state left and right channels together. You just don't do that with solid state. So that's it. That's it for now. I don't think I'm going to Jewett City tomorrow. I doubt it. But we'll see what happens. So thanks for watching, and mostly thanks for listening, actually. Thanks for being bored on another one of my boring, flapping videos. And we'll be seeing you.
I hope you're not too surprised to see